Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? Welcome to the Fairways of Life show. U.S. Open week is upon us. Getting ready to fly up there later on today. We'll be broadcasting from the U.S. Open this week. Looking forward to it. Pinehurst number 2. Haven't been back there since 2014 for the U.S. Open anyway. And that year, I should have loaded a picture of it. That year, I was doing the TV for ESPN, the dedicated coverage then. I don't even remember, Don, where that was going. You were up in the tower with me. I remember working with Carl Paulson. It's like they had me doing. Yes. I had been doing a lot of TV for ESPN at that point. And the show, this show was radio on PGA Tour Radio, Sirius XM. It was doing well. Everything's great. And so I remember saying to my producer, I said, hey, I got a buddy of mine, Carl Paulson, played over a decade in the PGA Tour, et cetera. Do you mind if I bring him up? And the guy was like, his name was Don Colantonio, his name was. Great producer. And Don was like, yeah. So Carl comes on the air with me. I don't know if it was his first time doing it, but it was close. And it was so dry and hot that week in Pinehurst. Remember, Dom, how it was so dry and hot? It was like the dust was coming up because the course was only a few years renovated, and they did the scrapes, so they revealed all the sand, and everything became really, really hot and dusty. So I don't know if it was affecting Carl's allergies or what. But I remember coming on the air. You know, we've got our ESPN microphones. I'll find a photo someplace. We're coming on the air, and I'm like, hello and welcome to the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2, blah, 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 blah. ESPN's exclusive coverage. Look at Andrew. Right on cue. And we were off to the left of that photo. See where that bunker is in that photo? Our tower, ESPN tower, was right there. So that when you looked behind us, like I said, I'll find a photo you see. You saw the full breadth and width of that beautiful clubhouse. And I turned to Carl and I was like, Carl, this is a special event. The national championship. How excited are you? What should we in store? Whatever question I asked him. And he went, that was it. That's all I got from him. And he started coughing and hacking. I heard the producer in my head go, just panic. Producer, complete panic. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I'm always wondering, like, what did the producer think I was going to do? Sit there and just watch him cough and hack away until he gurgled out like, I'm glad to be here? Of course I was going to pick it up. We still talk about that to this day. So I'm looking forward to getting back, seeing what it's like. Dom, you were out. What day is today? Monday? You were out there, what, Friday? You were lurking around?
Where, at Pinehurst?
Yeah, thanks for listening. Pinehurst. Pick it up. Pick it up.
I'm having issues on my issue. I've got.
Yeah, I'm having issues on my issues. Quote that.
I'm not seeing things where I want to hear them, and whatever. Yes, I was at Pinehurst. Yes, I actually had to go to Pinehurst. I think 4 times in the last 2 months.
It sounds like quite a burden.
In preparation, I went to the one you're referencing, the most recent. We did some additional testing because we're doing some live broadcasts there this week. We're going to be there tomorrow morning. Matt and I both are going to be there tomorrow morning. After I was done doing everything, I could have gone home. But instead, I went to the Pinehurst Brewery.
That sounds, again,
good decision.
Like a heavy burden. Yeah.
Good decision.
Yes.
It's delicious. Actually, I was supposed to send pictures.
You sent me a photo of that.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll send something to Andrew.
I said to Dom, I said, did you post, because we have a Dropbox, we put stuff up, and I was like, did you put any photos up? And he's like, I don't have any photos. Dom has photos. He's one of these people. Are you annoyed by people that send you food photos?
Come on, I'm not that bad. You're
that bad. I'm not judging
I'm
how
not.
much food photos you send me because it's copious. I'm asking the people, if you get annoyed by a friend who sends you food photos. I'm not saying I am. Andrew, are you annoyed by friends who send you food photos? No, he says, no, of course not. He welcomes the food
I don't
photos.
think I believe that. All right, there's a picture, Andrew. It's on Dropbox. We're all. This is all heavily produced, folks.
Yeah, we grab it on the fly. I'm back in the studio for the first time ever. I won't be in this studio again for months.
This is the last show of your life,
right? Well, we've got the U.S. Open this week.
Yeah, we're kind of.
And then we're live from the Travelers. Are you eating that live in the air?
Yeah. Oh, I'm still on camera.
That was
yes,
really
I am.
gross.
Yes. It's not gross. Here, I'll just...
It was. You like slurped it in like an animal.
It's my morning health smoothie. There, I'll move it a little bit off to the side. Feel better?
It looked like one of those National Geographic shows with like a seal that's eating
shut
or
up.
something.
No.
All right, so Andrew, did you find that photo? So this is what I get. This is the stuff that I get from.
You know what I can do? Hold on.
Andrew's like, I'm going as fast as I can. The system can only work so fast. It's coming from.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to find this video I took.
So I was at a tournament this weekend, Dom, and a guy says to me, he goes, yeah, that guy that's in front of you. He wasn't talking about you, Andrew. He was talking about Dom. I said, he's hundreds of miles away. Oh, wait, it's coming up. I can see it in the preview. Andrew's working on it right now.
Yep, there it is.
There it is. So is that mac and cheese, Dom?
Smoked mac and cheese.
Smoked mac and cheese?
Yeah, I'm putting another video up
the
there,
smoke
Andrew.
part makes it sound sophisticated because otherwise he eats
So
like a
you've
5-year-old.
got what you have there on that. They've got 4 different barbecue sauces. Why are we discussing this? Scottie Scheffler just won his 100th event in a row.
You said we'll get to it. You send me food. Well, I'm going to look at it.
So
cornbread looks delicious.
that is buttermilk cornbread. It was only okay. Yeah. The smoked mac and cheese is what it is, right? Smoked mac and cheese. To the left there, those are
like we all have
sweet potato
smoked
French
mac and
fries.
cheese every day.
I'm just
smoked mac and cheese.
Now on the right there, you've got their brisket, and then underneath that, the bottom right of your screen is their pulled pork, and their pulled pork, I would put it up against anybody. Okay. Now this next video we're going to see is the back of my kids' heads. Matt doesn't know anything about this. This was crazy. We had to have a tree removed in our house.
Whoa! What the heck is that?
We had to have.
Is that a wire cutter?
We had to have the stump ground. I had never in my life seen a stump grinding machine. Look at that thing.
They're
That
actually
is
pretty impressive.
horrifying.
And it's what's crazy about it is for the amount of money it costs you to have a stump ground up, it takes them no time.
Yeah, it really does. The whole thing took like a half hour. Look at him, Jess. Look at this.
Half hour.
Look at it. Look at it. That's crazy. My kids didn't move a muscle for an hour and a half. They just sat there watching this thing.
What's with the rig behind it? Why is there such a huge truck behind it? Is that just for show?
No, that was where the tree was. So they cut the tree down and put the tree in there, and they wood chip it up or whatever.
Did you
do.
pay
Why
for
are we
this, or was this
talking
like
about
an
this?
HOA thing?
We should be talking about Scottie Scheffler
We're going to get to it.
winning
We're going to get to
1,000
it in a
events
second.
in a row.
Just one second.
Can I tell you my question of the day?
Yeah, but I also want to know the answer to my question where I said, does it annoy you when friends send you picture food? I know you.
No, I
know
don't
you
care.
want to
I
avoid
like
that
food
because it hits a
in
little
fact,
too close to home.
In fact, do you know who Anthony Bourdain is?
Of course.
Okay, of course. Not everyone knows who that is. For
Yes,
the
they
record.
do.
No, they don't. So here's the thing. We have in our kitchen, we've got a wall sort of facing the cooking area. And there's this beat up bulletin board that we've been using for family crap for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And my wife said the other day, I'm done with this. We're going to get rid of it. And I said, we could put something new. We're going to put something new up in the kitchen. And she said, no, I think I'm going to leave the wall blank. I said, can I put a big Anthony Bourdain quote up with a picture of Anthony Bourdain in the kitchen? Perfect. And she goes, I'll never put words on my walls.
That was
That's a terrible idea. That's what she said. I think we should put an Anthony Bourdain thing up there.
You criticize me for not talking about Scottie immediately, and now you.
I have tried to steer this conversation 3 different times.
All right,
in the direction of golf.
What are the people saying before you tell me your question of the day? I want to know what they're
I
saying
haven't
about
read
that.
anything. I'm not looking at anything.
Come on.
Let's see what they're saying. See, they're talking about the golf. Golf. Smart wife, he says.
She is smart.
It's not. She is. It's true. She is. She is smarter than me. It's very true. So the question of the day, Matt, is who will win the U.S. Open? And the conversation, in my opinion, has now shifted to it is just Tiger level. Is it Scheffler or is it the field? That's where we are now. I think we're at that point. Is it Scheffler or the field?
I'm not there with Scottie. I thought Scottie showed some
put the odds
I will
up there,
tell you
Andrew.
before we get off the weekend
I'm not there
stuff,
with Scottie. Put the odds up. Look at that.
Before we get off
Matt.
the weekend stuff, Dom, I will tell you
Come
this
on.
because it's significant and newsworthy. For the second time in my life, I mean, I grew up there, never saw a bear. We saw a damn bear, a huge bear. And this is the video that this Shagruder film video is from a friend's camera. It wasn't an iPhone, so when she sent it to me, it like pixelated it or something. That was like 10 feet away from us. We pulled in the driveway, and none of us noticed it. I looked up, and there was a bear there with a cub, which is when you got to worry about the black bears. But she was mowing down Mama Bear there on a bag of Doritos. You can kind of see it. She kind of looked up. She's like, I'm not interested in you. These Doritos are awesome. Nacho cheese Doritos, I think they were, when I grabbed the bag later on. And there were two more cubs up that tree.
The only person that can take a video from 1984.
I didn't take that video. That was my friend took the video, Heidi.
What are they using?
She was using one of your
the
phones.
First iPhone ever made?
No, it's not an iPhone. It's the phones that you guys have that don't want to talk with iPhone. It's like some engineer decided, let's be annoying and make sure these two types of phones don't communicate with each other. Right? And so Mama Bear, which we were worried about because of the Cubs being around, couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. But then having said that, once we got in the house, Mama Bear walked to the right. It was like this old barn garage, and ripped the siding off the side of the wall. Just ripped it off and got in there and got more food. Although I did notice, for what it's worth, the bear was not interested in leftover fruit. He's only interested in the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. I was up there for the Ted Alex Memorial, so thank you to Heidi and Leanne and all those that took care of us. Oh, there's a shot. That was our eightsome that we were playing in as we finished. It was a scramble, so we're like, who's going to care? As soon as the Ranger passed by, we joined up as an eightsome. Kept cruising along. So what I was seeing with Scottie, over par in that final round, what I was wondering about, because Scottie Scheffler went 67, 68, 71, 74. Tough golf course at Muirfield Village, right? He ends up a one-shot victory over Colin Morikawa. But what I was wondering is athletic performance, mindset, the exoskeleton, the armor that you wear in the heat of the battle. Was it in any way impacted by the events in Louisville? Now, I could see people rolling their eyes and just going, stop, please, Louisville, it's behind us. All right, enough. But I just wondered, because I think that when you're on top of the world, from a golfer's perspective, what was a quote that Paul Azinger told us years ago? When you got it, you never think you're going to lose it. When you lose it, you never think you're going to get it back. And with Scottie Scheffler, with what he went through, feeling invincible, to have been put through what he was put through, which was ridiculous, but nonetheless, it happened. And I was really curious the significance of it. Would he be able to hold on? Of which the significance of it, to pay it off because he deserves it. It was his 11th PGA Tour victory in his 124 start at the age of, ready for this, 27 years, 11 months, and 19 days. So he's close to turning 28 years old. 28 years old. He moves into a tie for 93rd in the all-time PGA Tour wins list, becomes 107th person to reach 11 wins on tour. The reason why I highlighted that, which is many more that speak to his current rich vein of form and glory, which I'll get to in a second, but the reason why I wanted to highlight that one is just for all of us to take a breath. I'm not necessarily saying we have to pump the brakes in Scottie Scheffler. All I'm saying is when you look at what Scottie's doing against the balance of history, moves to a tie for 93rd in the all-time PGA Tour wins list. What he's doing is great. The age that he's doing it is great. It's 93rd, right? And I'm not saying he hasn't done enough. Don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is that we immediately take people and put them next to, Jones, Sarazen, Hogan, Palmer, etc. in the pantheon. He's 107th player to reach 11 wins on tour. So it's great what he's doing, and I'm going to pay off the greatness in a second. But it's just an opportunity to give us perspective with where we are right now. We're watching something incredibly special right before our eyes. All right, so let me get to that part. Just thought, in fairness and balance. Records career high with 5 wins in a season. His previous was 4. He becomes the 7th player, and it's the 16th instance of that, with 5 or more tour wins in a season since 1983, and first since Justin Thomas did it in 16 and 17 when he had 5. Scottie's won 5 of his last 8 starts on tour, and he's finished outside the top 10 once in 13 starts this season. Here's where it starts to get really amazing. Scottie Scheffler now becomes the 2nd player since 1950 with 5 PGA Tour victories, including a major, before the U.S. Open. The other, a person that did it twice. And everyone's leaning forward trying to figure out what years did Tiger do it. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about Tiger. Arnold Palmer in 1960 and 1962. He becomes the first player with 5 tour victories before the U.S. Open since, again, lean forward and think it's Tiger Woods. I did. Since Tom Watson in 1980. The last 5 instances of a player winning 5 times in a calendar year on the PGA Tour before June 10th. Scottie did it yesterday. Tom Watson, as noted, did it in 1980. The date of Tom's happens to be May 11th, what it's worth. The other 3, Johnny Miller in 74 and aforementioned Arnold Palmer in 62 and 60. Descending order. He had that final round 2 over 74. It's the highest finish by a winner on tour since John Rahm at the 2020 Memorial Tournament when he was 3 over with a 75. Scottie improves to 7 for 13 with 54-hole lead or co-lead on tour and 4 for 5 converting to victory this season. He becomes the first player to convert 4 or more 54-hole leads or co-leads to victory in a single season since Jordan Spieth in 2014-2015, which his number was 4 back then. So what he is doing is mind-blowing. You're going to hear from Scottie in just a second. I want to talk to you as well today. Well, obviously, we're going to talk some about the U.S. Open at Pinehurst in detail. I want to talk to you, and you're going to hear from Jack Nicklaus, and you're going to hear from Colin Morikawa, who was battling him. And a lot of people forget that Colin Morikawa won on that golf course. It was a week before the Memorial during the COVID stretch. Remember? It was sponsored by Workday. That's the name they used, Workday. Liv was in Houston this week. The LPGA was in New Jersey. The mixed Scandinavian leaderboard that ending was epic. I mean, a lot of people are feeling sorry for Soderberg because he blew a huge lead, but Grant ends up winning for the 2nd time in 3 years, which I think is a huge story. Plans to get to all of that. I've got the interview scheduled for today. Tiger was scheduled to speak at 10 a.m. today. What time did he switch to? That we got that press release this morning. Where is he now?
He is now tomorrow, and I believe that new time is either 10 or 11 a.m. tomorrow. I'm still waiting to confirm that, but he's been moved to tomorrow morning.
Okay, so
he's no longer speaking this morning.
Make sure you guys log on to the Fairways of Life YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to that, by the way. If you do, then you're in the running for stuff we're giving away. We're giving away a set of irons, forged, beautiful, beautiful irons. That's going to be actually given away at the end of this week, but you got to make sure you follow us on social media. You can see my social media right over here. Follow us on our social side, and then Make sure you also subscribe to that YouTube channel. But anyways, in the YouTube channel, you can find, we'll be loading sound and all kinds of stuff throughout the course of the week. So Scottie Scheffler, Jack Nicklaus, side by each after his victory at the Memorial. We know it means a lot to the players. And so where do you start with Scottie Scheffler with everything that he's done? What does it mean for Scottie Scheffler to win this event, Jack's tournament at Jack's house?
If you got the number one player in the world there and the number one player in the world performs and wins, you're really proud. Scottie, I know he didn't have his A game on several holes today, like a lot of fellows didn't have their A game on several holes today. But he put enough of his A game together to win the golf tournament. That's what it's all about. I loved hard golf courses. I love them. I don't know whether we were hard or we were really hard, but we were hard. And, when you get down and you got about a 20-footer for par, that's about what it was at 16 minutes, pretty close. And you ram it right in the back of the hole, and probably the toughest hole, maybe the toughest hole on the tour, I don't know. But you played it short every day, didn't you?
I did.
Well, no, not the third day. Third day you knocked your Stony.
I'm trying to remember.
Yes,
yeah,
you
third
did.
day I had a good shot.
Yeah,
The
you're
other 3
right.
days I bailed out in your new area over there,
Yeah, I
so thank
know.
you for that.
I gave you the area, but it's a long way from the hole.
True.
But you take the water out of play and you make three and you can get out of there without too much trouble. He knocked that putt in, and then he got back and Morikawa almost chipped it in at 18, and his ball ran down. Scottie played a nice chip down, and of course he just knocked that ball in like champions do, and that's the way he would like to finish it off. It's like the way we see it, like the way we. What am I trying to say? Like the way we see it finished off. I get the right number of its in there. But anyway, it was great. We got a great champion. I think it's, winning 5 of the first 8 tournaments he's played this year is pretty special. And we at Muirfield couldn't be more delighted, and I hope Scottie feels the same. Yeah, Shed, we've had 2 years in a row with no rain. We've never had that. I mean, it's just never happened. And I think the golf course was probably a little more difficult than I would have liked it. But I don't control that. You've seen the British Open, you've seen the U.S. Open, you've seen Augusta, where the conditions get really hard and fast. And there's not much you can do about it. You've prepared the golf course to the best of your ability. Chad prepared the golf course to the best of his ability. The tour was on board with what he prepared. The tour set the pins. The tour set the tee markers, and that was what was out there. Now, when you get a difficult day, the scores go up. But I don't think there was anything unfair out there. I think the greens probably got a little firmer than the tour thought they were probably going to get. I mean, you have found the last few holes, a little wind came up going downwind. The greens got firm. It was tough to stop it on those greens. It was really tough. I mean, 16, 17, 18 were really tough to stop the ball on the green. And 14 was really tough. But, hey, it was the same for everybody. And so the guy who works hard, perseveres better than the next guy is the guy that wins. This is the guy right here beside me.
Yeah, it's very special. I think Mr. Nicklaus did a lot of great things for the game of golf, but the effect he had on his community and our country as well is very special. And so I've looked up to him for a long time. He was always a family first guy, and I try to put my family first as much as possible, just the way he did. And you can kind of see it. I think he's been married, I think he said 64 years now. And so Lord willing, I'll make it that long. But it's special to be here, and it's even more special to be the winner. I mean, I played all right. I didn't have my best stuff, but man, I felt like I hit a lot of good shots that were just barely off. And if I hold a few more putts, it probably would have been a really good round. But outside of that, few bounces my way, or a few bounces or breaks go my way, they could have looked a little bit different. But I felt like I stepped up when I needed to there in the end. Yeah, I think playing golf for a living, you're kind of just a weird person in general, kind of just taking punishment constantly. To choose this life as a golfer is not for I would say a normal person. I think we all got a few screws loose to play this game professionally, and basically just battling week in, week out. And I think that's that's really part of the fun of it. And so I'll look back fondly on today, being the battle that it was. Colin was playing some really good golf. He hit a lot of quality shots today, and he was a tough man to beat for sure. Was it the hardest one this year? I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of hard to rate, difficulty of wins. I think maybe the players, I think, would maybe be the hardest if I could think, just because I was coming off a win, and I had the neck was bugging me pretty bad that week. But as far as satisfaction at the end of the week, this one's up there pretty significantly. Being at Mr. Nicklaus's golf course and being a tournament where I've had a few close calls in the past, it's very satisfying to hold that putt on 18 and be walking off with a win, and shaking Mr. Nicklaus's hand and him not saying, I think I talked about it a little bit earlier, but a couple years ago I missed a putt that maybe would have been for a playoff, and he told me I didn't make the putt today, but one day I'll make the putt on 18, and I'll be walking off to shake his hand. And so it was pretty special thinking about that as I was walking over to shake his hand today, and it was a fun week. Yeah. I think I try to pride myself as much as I can on I call it compartmentalizing parts of my life. So I have my off-course life and I have my on-course life, and I'm out here practicing and playing tournaments. I don't show up to these tournaments just to play. I'm here to do my best and compete, and so I definitely try to do my best to do that. And I think, it's definitely nice to be able to keep good form going with all that's been going on, in the world of golf and for me personally. And so, it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I think that's pretty accurate description, I think, of what it's felt like at times. And it's definitely nice to be sitting here at winter again. Yeah, it's pretty surreal. I felt like I've talked about it a little bit this week, but sometimes I still feel like we're in high school, and because I don't really have a real job. We come out here and play golf, and she's my biggest supporter. Watching her be a mom the last month or so has been really special, and I'm so proud of her. And I definitely could not be doing what I do out here on the golf course without her support. And having Bennett there today to celebrate, even though he has absolutely no clue what's going on, but it's fun for us as parents. And so we'll always be able to look back fondly on this tournament and, Benny's first week out on the road with us. Not really. Just because I'm the favorite next week doesn't really have any effect on my score. I think we all started even par, if I remember correctly. I think, it's a good place to be. I like the way, I like how my game's feeling right now. I feel like I've been playing some good golf. It's great to see some results too and wins. And out here the margins are so small between winning and losing, and it's a putt or a shot here or there. And fortunately today I was able to hit the shots when I needed to. And hopefully going into next week I'm going to stick to my game plan and prepare the way I usually would, and get ready to go out and compete again on Thursday. Go wing it. No, I feel like I have a strategy in the way in which I want to play the golf course, and that doesn't really change unless my lead is extremely drastic. I felt like this golf course, you have to plot your way around no matter what your score is, and I got off to a bit of a slower start, and it's one of those places where Mr. Nicklaus likes it tough, and mission accomplished.
Yeah, I know that.
Good job.
Yeah, a little more than I wanted, really.
No, but I'm the same way. I love difficult golf courses. I love difficult tests, and this week was definitely one of those tests. And as far as going into today, no, I don't have any other thoughts other than trying to continue to stay in the right frame of mind and hit shots. Execute is really all I'm focused on, because especially when the golf courses get this tough, you have to be so committed to what you're doing, and I try to focus on just my execution and let the results be the results. And whether I have a 4-shot lead or I'm in dead last in the tournament, that's always going to try and be my focus. I feel like I'm always trying to work on all aspects of my game, and I feel like when I walk out onto the first tee, I'm focused on my preparation. And when I step up there, and I always remind myself walking to the tee that I'm prepared for this. I did everything I could in order to play well. I checked all the boxes when I step up there on the tee. If you see me at a tournament, there's about a 99% chance that I checked all the boxes and I'm ready to play. And so when I step up there, I just remember the results aren't up to me, and I'm going to go out there and compete. But I feel like I put in an awful lot of work into this game, and just because I got to number one in the world doesn't mean I'm going to stop working. I always think about it. In my gym at home, I hang some of the hats that I grew up with. I remember, when I was a kid and I got a cool hat, I would wear it the whole summer, and I would sweat through the hat. and they're just disgusting and gross, and I hang them in my gym. And so when I'm back there working out, I remind myself that just because I got to where I am now, it wasn't just because it just happened. I remember all the work that I put in, all the balls that I hit, all the amount of time I spent out there sweating in the sun and putting in the time and the effort in order to become good. And, I continue to try to even work harder. That's really all it is. And that's I give myself those little reminders of stuff like that. And yeah, those hats are pretty gross, but they're good motivation. It just reminds me of putting in the time and the effort. I don't always want to go back into the gym and work out. I'd much rather sit on the couch and hold my son and hang out with my wife. But, I feel like I'm called to do this to the best of my ability. So when I go back there and I'm putting in some work, sometimes you need a little extra motivation. And those hats are just reminders for me of, what the work that it took to get here. And, I don't want to let it go to waste.
All right, Scottie Scheffler etching his pathway into history. It's formidable. It is very, very impressive with what he is doing right now. That conversation that Dom said, do you take Scottie or the field? And I was kind of like, We're definitely seeing he still won. He won at a very difficult golf course against a, premier field. But I still feel like I just have a sense that there's some slowdown happening. If that's fair or unfair, you guys weigh in accordingly. As I mentioned, Liv was in Houston. The Cliques got their first win there. Carlos Ortiz, the individual win. Plan to get to that. Plan to get to Strom and the LPGA, the ShopRite Classic. Plan to get to Grant with the Scandinavian mixed. It was great. If you want to play your best and be great at the game, however you judge it, PGA Tour Superstore is your happy place. Within their big, beautiful stores, 70 spread out from coast to coast, you can find whatever you're looking for, but you are shopping with the pros, so you know that the people you're there with are vested in your best interest. They're not just there to sell you a widget, to sell you sporting goods. There's other big box sporting goods stores that sell golf equipment, but none of them are staffed by pros. Shop with the pros at the PGA Tour Superstore.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The Gen 6 iron is a culmination of everything that we have learned as a team, the absolute best golf club I've ever hit. It's something special. Say hello to the new PXG Gen 6 iron. The longest, most accurate irons we've ever made. They go higher and farther than any iron that I have hit to date, and they're so easy to hit. Super excited for the consumer to try this. They're gonna love them.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm going to go after the PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Getting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're going to need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
I was driving to visit my friends. Had my dog Max with me. Then, out of nowhere, Alex from Travelers called me about my claim, but all I could think about was finding Max. So he helped get the word out.
We've got a lost dog alert. A brown and white Australian Shepherd mix. He goes by Max.
I can't thank Alex enough.
All right, welcome back to the Fairways of Life show. Got breaking news for you at this hour. The USGA has just sent out this announcement to media, so I'm sending it out to all of you. USGA announces 2 exemptions and the completion of the field for the 124th U.S. Open Championship, and they write. The United States Golf Association today announced that 2 additional players have earned full exemptions into the 124th U.S. Open Championship to be contested June 13th to 16th at Pinehurst Resort and Country Club's course number 2, bringing the number of fully exempt players to 84. Additionally, 4 alternates from final qualifying were added to complete the 156-player field. Robert McIntyre earned an exemption based on the current official world golf rankings. McIntyre of Scotland, who is number 41 in the OWGR, is playing in his 3rd U.S. Open. The 27-year-old recorded his first PGA Tour victory by winning the RBC Canadian Open with a 72-hole score of aggregate 264, 16 under on June 2nd. He has 4 top 10 finishes this season, including 8th at the PGA Championship. Adam Scott, who is number 61 in the official world golf rankings, became exempt when the late Grayson Murray was removed from the list for purposes of determining the top 60. Scott will compete in his 23rd consecutive U.S. Open, with his best finish a tie for 4th in 2015 at Chambers Bay. He has played in 2 U.S. Opens at Pinehurst, tied for 28th in 2005, tied for 9th in 2014. Scott, who also advanced through final qualifying 6 years ago, has won on 5 professional tours, and his 14 PGA Tour victories include the 2013 Masters and the 2004 Players Championship. Scott will be competing in his 92nd straight major championship. Think about that. The USGA held 6 spots in the field for those players who could potentially become exempt, since McIntyre and Scott were the only players to earn an exemption. 4 alternates from final qualifying were added to the field. They are Sergio Garcia, amateur Brendan Valdez, Otto Black, and Maxwell Moldovan. Garcia will compete in his 125th consecutive U.S. Open. His 25th. Did I just say 125th? Nice. His 25th consecutive U.S. Open. He's been around a long time, but not that long, which ties him for 10th on the all-time list. He was the first alternate from Dallas, Texas qualifying site. The 44-year-old Spaniard owns 36 professional victories, including the 2017 Masters and the 2008 Players. Garcia, who now competes on Live, on Live Golf, they write, has 16 DP World Tour wins, 11 PGA Tour wins. His best finish in a U.S. Open was a tie for 3rd in 2005 at Pinehurst number 2. All right, so that was breaking news that just came out this morning. I've got all kinds of different things that I wanted to jump to here, but the fact that Lynn Grant won the Scandinavian Mixed for the 2nd time in 3 years, yes, she did it because of the collapse. Soderberg, he gave up an 8-shot lead in the waning holes of the tournament. Painful as it is still golf. That's the way it goes. So Lynn was asked by the media following what it was like to win for a 2nd time. Has it even sunk in yet?
No, I think the abrupt finish from the tournament was just different. It's my first time experiencing a win like that, so yeah, it hasn't really sunk in yet. I mean, shocked, and also, like I said in the interviews prior, I was like just saying how bad I would feel for him. So I was very divided emotionally. So just feeling very sorry for him, but at the same time very happy for myself. So that's why I'm a little on and off. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it coming myself. Obviously, I'd say I had an amazing day out there, and I'm just very happy to be standing here right now.
All right, so we go from Grant in Sweden to Strom in New Jersey, where she finishes at 14 under par. It's a Donna Ross golf course. It sits in the shadow of Atlantic City. It's beautiful when you look across the harbor and you can see Atlantic City off in the distance, but it's a very different feel there. It feels almost like the country. I guess is the way that I would phrase it. Maybe it is by depending upon your definition, but an absolutely beautiful place. So let's pick up here with just asking about what the last few hours have been like since, because remember she finished way before the end of the tournament. And what is it like to sit for that long and to wait and see what your fate actually is?
I don't know. Time went quick. At first, I was like, what I'm going to do at the time. And, it's just so hard to put your head, like, around it. And I was like, I'm obviously very happy with my round today. And I felt like winning would just be a bonus. And, it's always been a dream of mine to win on LPGA. So super happy to be sitting here right now. And I worked hard for it. So it makes it even better. But, yeah, waiting around those 4.5 hours, I don't know. I had a longer lunch and, just waited, and then I went to the gym, did some stretching, and then I was pretty much ready to start my warm-up again. So, yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it means so much. I just love playing in front of my family and in front of fans, and the fans out here today were amazing. So I think this whole week has been great. And like I said, I mean, he basically booked a last-minute flight. I asked him a couple of weeks ago, do you want to come to any of the next tournaments? And he said, I can come here. It's not too long of a trip from Sweden. So obviously very glad that he decided to come. And we've had a great week here together. And I shared the apartment with Frida Chinholt this week, too. So it's been good. I mean, just had a Swedish week. We've been cooking some food in the evening. So it's been very enjoyable. Yeah, and I think that's just, I mean, it's just golf. And I think that's important to remember that, sometimes you're going to have the luck on your side and other times you're not going to have the luck on your side. And I've had a couple of tournaments this year, probably 4 or 5 events where I missed a cut by a shot. And when you do that week after week, it kind of gets to you and you're very hard on yourself, and you feel sorry for yourself when you should be out there working harder. So I think I'm just very thankful for my family and my team that kept pushing me through those situations and through those moments to, let go of the past result and always focus on the next. And holding that putt yesterday on 18, I mean, it kind of just told myself that, okay, maybe this is actually going to be a good week after all. So, yeah, it's small margins.
Swedes dominating golf right now, at least on the women's side with those two great wins. As to live golf, Martin Keimer's cleats have broken through. It's perfect timing because we're talking about Martin Keimer. The last time we were at Pinehurst #2 for a U.S. Open. Remember, he won it there. It was very impressive. Let's see how impressed they were with their victory in Houston.
I think you need to separate a couple of things. First, for me individually, I was somehow happy with this week, the way I performed. I know what I need to work on. So that feels good going into Pinehurst. Obviously, with the memories from 10 years ago, I really look forward to go to a very positive place in my heart. Then coming here, knowing we were doing well, we were in good shape, and our form was trending in that direction that we want, to actually pull it off and win this thing. I mean, it made me super happy. It means a lot for us as a team, and for me as a captain. The last 2 years has been quite difficult. We have been so many times on the bottom of the leaderboard, and I was quite unhappy with the way I performed because I couldn't really help the team for several reasons. Obviously the injury that was a big one, and finally my game is coming back slowly, and that helps the team. It feels good that you can be part of a team and not always dragging the team down. We have a good team spirit. We all get along really well. I was very pleased for Adrian. I'm sure he would have liked to made a couple more birdies coming down the last 4 or 5 holes, but in general, we need to focus on the positive things. And he goes into next week with good form. The other 2 guys, they go on vacation to New York, play a little bit of golf on the side, I think. So I look forward to go to the US Open next week with that positivity that we gained this week.
Yeah, that's what's cool about Liv, to have 3 other guys with you on the team, and even if you don't win or if you don't perform as you want, as individually, you still have that team standings, and it's great to have on Sunday four scores counting, because anything can happen, and even though sometimes you don't play your best individually, but you still want to have your team performing well, and you still keep grinding, and that's what's cool about the team environment and the team leaderboard. So yeah, I'm super proud to be on that team with all of these guys, and super happy about the win.
All right, the win, speaking of the individual win that Adrian is just referring to there, of course, went to Carlos Ortiz. And for Carlos, how did it feel to get this victory?
I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston. All four, the two little ones left this morning, but yeah, it's really special to share this with them, and obviously for them to watch me do it, it's special for me. I don't know if they remember or they care, but it was really special for me that they were able to be there on 18. I mean, I was aware. I think it was in between me and Meronk, pretty much all. I mean, with David too, but Meronk probably on the back nine. And honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. So that's what I was trying to do. Obviously, 18 I made bogey, but it worked. Of course, sharing with those guys, they're probably my best friends. It's really special. I love being there for Joaquin. The 2 times he won, they were there for me in Oman. So it's just awesome sharing them with them. Yes, I've been playing great. It's a shame I doubled the last hole to miss the qualifier. It hurt a lot, but I think with time we're gonna get back into the majors, because I know that I'm one of the best players in the world right now, and I deserve to be there. But with the things that are happening right now, it's kind of hard. But I'll do my best to get into the British Open, and then I also have the Summer Olympics too. So other than the live tournaments coming up, so I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
All right, Carlos, after his victory, Live Golf in Houston. There was news about the PGA Tour and Live. I'll get to that when we come back as we wrap up the show on this Monday, U.S. Open week, and get ready to fly out on my way to Pinehurst, where we'll be broadcasting throughout the course of the week. Just to reiterate again, something I was mentioning to you earlier in the show to make sure I was clear on it, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Fairways of Life YouTube channel. If you're watching it right now, you can always hit the like button. That helps us too. But subscribe to it to make sure that you're in the running for these prizes that we are giving away. And I'm going to keep doing it. I'm enjoying it. People are enjoying it. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our social channels, again, you can see my channel right down here on your TV screen all the time. You're in the running. And this week it's a forged set of irons that are absolutely gorgeous, perimeter weighted, all the rest. But when we come back, I do want to give you an update that officially this time is coming from a statement from the tour, which I believe is in reaction to pretty much what we're already hearing. It's an incredible time. Really, it's an incredible time to be alive, because as elements churn, when there was a time when the powers that be, the man, controlled the flow of information, what you found out, how you found out, when you found out, those kind of, call them guardrails if you want, or fences if you please, they don't really exist as much anymore. So oftentimes organizations that we're seeing, and historically organizations that like to release information as it suits them, are sometimes playing catch up with the news that's already out there publicly. And so what we have, I think, is really a confirmation of what we already knew. Do you agree? We'll have it for you after this.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
Boyne Golf provides the ultimate world-class golf destination with 10 championship-caliber courses spanning 3 resorts. Centered in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula, the courses are the products of some of the game's masters, including Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross. From the all-inclusive vacation packages, elite instruction with the Boyne Golf Academy, tournaments, and so much more, Boyne Golf truly offers an unrivaled Michigan golf vacation experience. Just log on to BoyneGolf.com.
This year, treat Dad like a pro and get him what he actually wants: better golf. Golf Forever will give Dad the same coaching and tools the pros use to move their best, swing their best, while staying pain and injury-free. The best gift you can give Dad is one that makes his time on course worth it: the ability to play golf at his highest potential, forever. Golf Forever. Play without limits.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together, hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
What if we started a company and the company was under no time constraints, no financial constraints? The one constraint is their clubs had to be exceptional performers and much better than any other alternative. I was told time and again it'll never work. It worked like a house of fire. And I'll tell you what, I think our customers love it. BXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
All right, welcome back to Fairways of Life show.
U.S. Open week.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting up there. All right, so this came through official statement from the PGA Tour. Statement on behalf of the PGA Tour Enterprises Board Transaction Subcommittee. Oh, that's a mouthful. And they write, as previously stated, our negotiations with the Public Investment Fund, PIF, have accelerated in recent months. Representatives from the PGA Tour Enterprises Transaction Committee and PIF have been meeting multiple times weekly to work through potential deal terms and come to a shared vision on the future of professional golf. On Friday evening, an in-person session in New York City included the entire transaction committee and PIF Governor Yasser Al-Rumayyan and his team, where more progress was made. We remain committed to these negotiations, which require working through complex considerations to best position golf for global growth. We want to get this right, and we are approaching discussions with careful consideration for our players, our fans, our partners, and the game's future. Close quote. Okay, so I would normally tell you after we get something like this that there's a lot to break down there. I'm not sure if there is. I'm willing to take this on, what do you guys think, face value, that they're basically telling us, hey, we're getting close. We are in heated negotiations. As I mentioned to you before we went to the break, there's nothing that was revealed here that we didn't already know from sources on social media, which I don't present that as something disparaging. Don't get me wrong. I mean it more from the standpoint of saying it's pretty cool to be doing what we're doing in 2024 when you're not just completely dependent upon reading shadows. Let me put it this way. Would this statement have come out if all the news hadn't been independently released? Right? Let me put it that way. No judgment. I'm just saying that's the way the world is now. Great. There are a couple things here that I thought were interesting. And I'm mentioning this because I had a sponsor of a PGA Tour event lament to me about, everything about the PGA Tour used to be about charity. What we're doing for charity, the mark we're leaving in our local communities. And the significance of that continues to be profound. Don't get me wrong. Next week when we're at the Travelers, I love talking to, Andy Bissett or Nathan Grube from Travelers and the tournament director, respectively, about the impact that they make from a charitable standpoint. And a hole-in-the-wall game camp for kids who are seriously, seriously ill, to be able to, as founder Paul Newman put it, raise a little hell, is a place that it will bring tears to your eyes when you're down there to see what happens and see what's going on. But this last sentence of the statement I just read said, we want to get this right. And we're approaching discussions with careful considerations for our players, our fans, our partners, and the game's future. Players, I get. Our fans, I mean, you have to say that, don't you? Or, you run the risk of fans storming the glass offices with flames in one hand and 5 irons in the other. It says our partners, which I take that to believe the people who sponsor events, right? The people who pour money into the tour. Am I wrong on that? And then the game's future. So the only thing, the first thing to the point I was making about the charity side, isn't it? If you're gonna say our players, our fans, our partners in the game's future, couldn't you put in there the charities? I mean, I'm just saying, is this an indication of a mindset shift where, because you're competing with a competitor that's paying extremely well, that resources have to be moved in that direction versus perhaps where they used to be? Is that what's happening? I'm not defining it. I'm asking the question. I could tell you that the sponsor that spoke to me about it was bothered by what I'm describing. And that's what prompted the question. But in fairness to the tour, could it be that our partners is a broader interpretation than the narrow one that I just gave it? And that does include those that benefit from the tour events as they go into the different states, the different cities, and accordingly benefit those from the charitable side. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? And then the last thing, and they say the game's future. So again, reading the whole sentence again says, we want to get this right, and we're approaching discussions with careful considerations for our players, our fans, our partners, and the game's future. And it's that last part, the game's future. I was okay above when it said where the sentence, and you can see it on the board that Andrew has up there if you're with us on the TV side, where they go on to say they've been meeting multiple times weekly to work through, quoting now, work through potential deal terms and to come to a shared vision on the future of professional golf. Okay, I get that. You're working on the future of professional golf. But then the last sentence goes down to the more grandiose broad brush and the game's future. The one thing that I think professional golf has to be careful of with all of this, and maybe there was a time when they could do this, and maybe there was a time even when it was true. Again, I leave that to your interpretation. I'm more curious about what you guys think than me. But do you believe at this point that the negotiations between LIV and the PGA Tour will define the game's future? See, to me, this always comes back to the same thing, that the soapbox that I have a tendency to climb on. The game's future belongs to you guys. I don't believe that it belongs to professional golf. Their future belongs to them, where they talk about the future of professional golf. That's theirs. I get it. And we're here to enjoy it. It's entertainment, right? But I don't believe that whatever the PGA Tour or Live Golf ultimately do will define the game's future. Do you guys individually or collectively decide if you're going to tee it up this weekend based upon whether the PGA Tour or Live Golf seem to be making progress with their discussions? You understand what I'm saying? The game of golf is booming at a level right now that it never has before. Yes, post-pandemic, but whatever it was that caused people to pay attention to what's happening in the game of golf, it's working. It has worked. It's booming. People like this sport. It's great. It's cool. It's fun. It connects. It's all those things and many things that people said it never would be just a few years ago. Right? Off course, on course, how the game is measured, how the game is consumed. But when you look at, say for the last few weeks as the season's starting to heat up and head towards the U.S. Open, and, of course, we'll have the Open at Royal Troon. The ratings were universally down by significant amounts. They haven't been lately. That's good, right? I'm not complaining about that. That's good. But what it shows you is that you guys decide the future of golf. Full stop. However you define it, you decide it. It is that 99.99% because without you, none of the rest exists. I have a feeling if you go behind, back rooms, people aren't too happy about that reality. They like to call the shots themselves, and you come along for the ride whether you like it or not. But that's not what it is. And when those ratings dipped for multiple events over the course of weeks, I guarantee you there was a lot of people watching very closely, taking stock of that. And I guarantee you that has been in many ways the fuel that has kept these discussions going instead of just building up walls and fences and restrictions from one side to the other and lobbing insults back and forth. They kind of went, no, we need to do something here. The world wants to find a way that they see the best players play together and against each other more often. Go back to the comment I just made. This is about entertainment. So I'm just raising one thing. I don't mean to make it too heavy or too deep. I suppose I've already crossed that line. I'm just saying that to me, to use the terminology that what's happening is for the game's future, I really think we're getting past that point where that terminology should be used. That already, to me, seems dated. If not from months ago, then starting to approach years ago, where we started to realize that those that thought they were the gatekeepers of the game are merely a stop along the road. It's a great stop, and it's an enjoyable stop. It's entertainment. It does, in essence, belong to all of us, which is great. But I think that at every step, and the fans are mentioned. It goes players first and fans second. So don't get me wrong here. Don't take it with too much weight, as I mentioned. But I just think whenever anything is discussed, whether we're talking about rules modifications, whether we're talking about the structure of professional golf, I think everybody should start with, how does this impact the most important people in the game? And that's all you guys. First and foremost. Because if the game of golf starts down a path where the fans lose interest in any part of it, that part that they lost interest in is going to die on the vine. That's it. Nothing else matters. Just one guy's thoughts. So other than that, yeah, we're getting a report that negotiations and conversations are continuing. When we had some notable and prominent resignations from various boards, the implication was that Maybe they're not close. Maybe they're moving farther away. I saw some things. They were unsubstantiated, but some speculation online that this is a clear indication that things are not going well, and this is probably not going to happen. It makes you wonder if the resignations were simply because, my voice isn't being heard. Why should I hang around here if you don't need me? Maybe it wasn't, as ominous a signal as we were being led to believe. But ultimately, as I mentioned, I think the real message to all of this is when the fans started to send a message of, we're starting to lose interest. Everybody started to go, we got a real problem here. We need to figure this out as quick as we possibly can. All right, so as I mentioned, we got a lot going on. I believe we flashed up for you the press conference schedule coming up at the U.S. Open. Tiger was scheduled today. That's been moved. Does it have something to do with what I was just reading? I don't know. Webb Simpson, Nick Dunlap, Wyndham Clark are all scheduled today. Tomorrow is huge. Bryson, Victor, John Rahm. I mean, who's not interested in John Rahm? Find out what's going on with the foot. Are you okay? Rory, Martin Keimer, who I could say is defending champion here. Xander, Scottie. Is Xander hotter than Scottie right now in your mind? Do we put together that list, Tom, where it's three people? It's Scottie, Xander. Who would be the third? Rory, Bryson. Pick a third. Remind me to do that tomorrow. We'll ask people about that. Will you take three players of the field? Right? And then Tiger's going to be worked into the mix. The USGA is having a press conference Wednesday at 11 a.m. We're going to be live from Pinehurst tomorrow. Really excited. Dom found all these arduous trips that he's made to the Pinehurst Resort. He has found an absolutely awesome location for us to broadcast from. We could do it from the media center or something like that. It's just not as cool as where we're going to be. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. So until we are together again at the U.S. Open, you guys have a great Monday. Be well, and goodbye for now.